green Waterman pen, which she treasured and used as often as possible. "What was my first sentence?" "Well, you combined a verb and a noun, dear. You said, 'Gimme cookie.'" "Oh," Harriet said. "Well," she thought, "I won't bother to erase after all. It's essentially the same thing as proceed with the feeding." "Why did you want me to come down?" she asked her parents. "We have some news to share with you. Would you like a peanut, by the way?" Mrs. Welsh put her martini down and passed a small silver dish of peanuts to Harriet. Harriet shook her head. Ordinarily, she liked peanuts, but for some reason she could feel her appetite disappearing. It made her uncomfortable when her parents announced news. Their news never seemed to be the kind of news Harriet wanted to hear. "What news?" she asked. "Your father has received a rather important assignment from the network. Harry, wouldn't you like to describe it to Harriet?" Mr. Welsh had been looking at the folded newspaper on the table near the peanut dish. He was pretending not to. But Harriet could see him surreptitiously glancing at the day's headlines. "Paris," he said. "Paris?" asked Harriet with suspicion. "France? We're to leave next week for Paris," Mrs. Welsh explained in the same perky, delighted voice that she used to describe bridge tournaments or antiques auctions. "For how long?" Harriet wasn't deceived by the voice. A little vacation in Paris would be okay, she thought. Maybe it would be a pleasant interlude before school resumed next month. But she had an ominous feeling. She was glad she hadn't accepted a peanut. It might have lulled her too quickly into a cheerful reaction when really suspicion was called for. Her mother wiped her lips tidily, using a small cocktail napkin printed with a red and green design of olives in a stack. She said something that sounded like "Toi-ma," while holding the napkin in front of her mouth. "Toi-ma?" Harriet repeated, wondering if perhaps her mother was speaking French, although Harriet had studied French for 2 years already in 5th and 6th grades, and toi-ma had not been a vocabulary word. 3 months, Mr. Welsh said quite clearly with an air of impatience. "We're going to live in Paris for 3 months beginning next week." "The network has rented a lovely apartment for us, dear," Mrs. Welsh said. "Quite near the Luxembourg Gardens. Les Jardins, I mean." In her mind, Harriet leapt ahead on her timeline to the final sheet, the one for her 12th year, the one that she wedged under a corner of her old toy box when the long strip was unrolled on the floor of her room. Age almost 12, moves to Paris. It was not what she had had in mind for age almost 12. "I won't go," she told her parents, glaring. Then she added, "And in case you missed it, I expostulated that." Her father looked at her through his glasses. Harriet's father was a television executive. He had an executive face and hair that was combed in an executive way. "Excuse me?" Mr. Welsh said. Harriet imagined how he must look in his office when some poor scriptwriter, nervous and hungry, sat before him with a manuscript held together by a frayed rubber band and pleaded for a chance to be head writer on a sitcom so he could pay his debts and feed his starving children. Her father would probably look down through his glasses the same way. He would probably say in that same executive voice, "Excuse me?" Harriet sighed. She repeated it. "I won't go," she said for the second time. No, I understood that part," her father said. He sipped his martini. "I didn't understand what you added, about expostulating." "Oh, well," Harriet explained, "Mr. Grenville says—" Harriet's mother interrupted. "Mr. Grenville is one of Harriet's teachers at school, dear," she told Harriet's father. He nodded. Harriet could tell he was making a note of that in his head. "Go on," he said. "Mr. Grenville says we must use strong verbs when we write." "Strong verbs?" Mr. Welsh took another sip of his drink. "Yes. For example, instead of just saying he walked, we should say he ambled or he strolled." "I see." "And instead of she said, it would be better to use a strong verb." "Like expostulate, perhaps?" Harriet's father asked.